Okay, we go to the candlestick topic. Candlestick is one of the most powerful analysis in the world. That I really believe in it, and I'm using candlestick for 7 years now. And I always use it in my trading, and always it's the first confirmation of my analysis. Okay, there's a rule in candlestick that each candle that gets finished, it gives us a signal that the next candle, how will it be? When one of my candles are like a bullish or bearish, like if it's bearish, I know that my next candle, if it's gonna be bearish or bullish, and how much will it go downwards. Or I can find reversals in it, where the price is gonna get finished or closed, and according to it I can put my targets, TPs, and stop losses. It will I'll explain the shapes of the candle, because the first sessions I put out the notes for candlesticks for you to preview. We call this insen. Has two short shadows from two sides and a long body. When the candle gets shaped like this, if the next candle starts working from the next candle, the new candle can pass this part, but if it can't, the new candle, if it can't open the price of this candle, it's an overlapping. Otherwise, it's continuous. I call it a 50-50 candle. It may be a continuous or it may be a overlapping candle. Now we have candles with shadows and without shadows. The next candle. You see, I tell you the important ones. I will tell you the theory of it, the theory form of it, and then we go to the practical thing. When this candle gets formed at the bottom of the chart, for example, let me open the chart for you, like this part. When it's in the bottom of the chart, and I have seen so many books, they call it a bearish. When the shadow is longer than the body, means your candle is bullish. When is it bearish? Is that it gets formed above the chart, at the top of the chart. This bearish candle is the key if it gets formed at the top of the chart. Like here, it has been formed. It has been formed at the bottom of my chart, and the next candle is bullish. And the shadow is longer than the body right now. And if it's on the top, the same shape on the top. I try to find you an example. That's your trend is bearish and your candle is bearish then. Here, the body should be on the top and the shadow should be at the bottom of the body. And it rarely happens. It's not really that common. It's one of the rare candles. Okay. Unfortunately, I don't see the example of it. We have one here as well. We call it a high. When the shadow is longer, the swing of the price and increase of it is more. When the long shadow is on the bottom, the trend is gonna be uptrend, and it should be this shadow. I'm repeating, this shadow should be lower than the sides of it. I don't find that kind of candle right now because it's really rare, but I will repeat it again at the notes. When, like for example, when our candles start working from like upwards, and when this is on the top, my trend is bearish, and it is a downtrend. And when it's on the bottom, and the two sides is longer than the two sides, it's gonna be bullish or uptrend. I told you when it's on the top, exactly here. I zoom it in. Where was it? We have a lot in this chart. It's common. When the long shadow is at the bottom, your trend is uptrend. You see here is an uptrend. Now if it's on the top, I'm going to show you all of these. Yes, here we have one here. The long shadow is on the top and the body is on the bottom. And the trend has dropped down. Okay. I usually call these candles high. I call this a high. These two candles are high. Whenever the shadow is longer, the the power of the strength of the next signal is more. Like if the shadow is on the bottom and is long, the longer it is, the trend is going to go intensely upwards. We call this a continuous trend candle as well. It it usually like gets created in the sideways market. You can see these candles after like 11 p.m. Where was it? I just saw it as I was looking for the other one. Yes, here. These usually gets created in the sideways chart or another place where we have a lot of sideways like parts of chart. You see, we have one here. It was a continuous one. And if it's on the top, it's a continuous one to the upwards. If the candle is full and white, it's a drop. If it's not, if it's empty, it's going to be an increase. One here. And then again here. But usually we say don't trade on them. It's not a good point for trading. When our market is sideways and relaxing, we should relax as well and don't trade. We go to the popular candle of Hanging Man candle. When it's get created at the bottom of the chart, it's a hammer. Means my trend is going to go uptrend. We call it a high as well. Means the price is going to go upwards. Like here, it's at the top of the trend. This Hanging Man, it's going to be a downtrend. It's rare. We have rarely have this Hanging Man. But if it gets created, the trend moves intensely. I insist. Like so many books have explained the candlestick, but they didn't tell you the techniques and the small points of it. Either because they didn't know enough about it or just wanted to tell you the default mode of it. When the body of the candle gets finished higher than the last candle, it's going to go downwards intensely. Sometimes the candle gets finished inside of the last candle. Means the body is inside of the last body of the candle. It's going to go it's going to continue its way. Let me show you an example. I hope I can find it. Oh. You see here. This is a hammer. We call it a high as well. When it's on the bottom of the chart, your trend is going to go upwards. And if it's on the top, your trend is going to go downwards. And it's not valid. Why do we say it's not valid? Because it's in the trend. I always say the shadow should be longer than the other sides, like the two sides of it. It rarely happens at the top of the chart, but we have a lot of highs. Let me higher my time frame. We have one here. You see one here. The trend has gone down. You see, we shouldn't have a shadow right here. I'm saying it rarely happens. You see here, exactly here. We have a long shadow from the bottom and a small body from the top. And it's completely downwards right now. It has dropped down. And the longer the shadow, the more valid it is. Like, if this candle gets finished as a white candle, it's another confirmation for a bearish trend or a downtrend. Like my trend was uptrend and my candle was bullish, and the color of my candle has changed. This is confirmation. I tell you like the details of the candlestick like this on the real chart for you to see. Like the whole trend has gone drop down, and the next candle has gone up. There's a high there, and again my candles came down. Like if it would change colors to white, it would drop down easier. There's another example here. It has dropped down. Another one here. This is one of the most popular candles in trading. That I get answers and it works really well. This is finished. So whenever it's in the bottom of the chart, I don't have the shape right now. Now if it's on the top and this shape is in the bottom, it's a hammer or a high. Or if it's on the top of each other like this, in this like this hanging man candle is higher than this one, is a hanging man, and the trend is gonna drop down easily, and we rarely have it. Now doji candle. If the body is really thin and there's two shadows on the bottom and top, we call it doji. And we usually don't trade in these candles. Yes, we call it that the trend is uptrend and it's gonna go drop down. But sometimes it's not valid and the next candle has gone in the opposite direction. I'm sorry. Let me show you the doji in this chart. You see here. You see there's a doji here. It has dropped down. We had another doji here. We expected it to go up, but it's gone down. We shouldn't really trade according to this candle. You should know what it is, but you shouldn't trade on it. Doji is really common. We have a lot of it in the chart. Okay, this is a hammer. On the top is in the bottom, and the trend is going upwards. There's a doji here. The sideways chart is really common. I had a doji here. It has been performed and operated. Okay. There's a doji done here as well. When there's a doji like this, we can enter trading with other rules. But I'm just telling you the rules of candlestick and the techniques in it. But when we go to the practical part of the lessons, like if there's a candle and a high, where can we start trading in it? Like, how can we know there's a confirmation? I will tell you in the practical lessons in the chart. This is a bearish Sanpei, the trend may pull back. After these 3 candles, it will finish like 5 candles. Like with these three, the 2 other candles will finish, and then it's the end of the trend. We call it the Three River Doji. In these notes, I have written by the books. The 3 Sanpei, we call them other things as well. The 3 evening doji star. Look, when is gonna be a star? When this gets opened with a gap. We rarely have it. Like we have it like 2 or 3 times in a year. But when this happens, your whole trend is gonna change. I haven't seen it this evening doji star in these 16 years, and I didn't trade by it. It's one of the rarest things in this chart. It means that when it gets further from the candle, it forms with a gap. If it's on the top of the chart, it's a uptrend. If it's on the bottom of the chart, it's a downtrend. Yes, it's not important, and we don't trade by them. These happen in the sideways. Like, I just tell you the important candle patterns. It was a bearish signal. The 3 candles are on the side of each other, and then there's a drop, and we call it a waterfall. I will tell you the patterns after this. Call it a 3 peak or a sunzen. When there's 3 highs like this, it will drop down the trend. Let me find the example of it in the chart. Yes. You see here? Right now, it has opened a little, but it has gone down. And there's like a senzen here. And we have the increase of it like this. And then it has gone up. It will be like taught to you in the patterns. And the next one. I will tell you these in the chart. Let me just look over the notes to see if I will find something or not. In this part, my trend was uptrend. The next candle gets opened with a lot of gap, and it's an ending gap, means it's a bearish gap candle. And it's gonna be a downtrend. And what we have in the market Let me find these parts. The next candle is bearish, and it was with a lot of gap and should have came down. Like here. Here it has dropped down. When the market gets open with a lot of gap and it gets closed like with a lot of gap as well, the whole trend will be a downtrend. I've told you these doji ones, not important. Oh, you see here, we call it a hammer, but not in the straight one. We have a reversal hammer. You see here, we had one here as well. Shooting star. They call it shooting star. We call it a reversed hammer as well. Or the inverted hammer. Where it's in the bottom of the chart and the shadow is on the top. We call it an inverted hammer. When this same shape is on the top of the trend, we call it a shooting star. And the trend is gonna drop down. We have a reversal candle. I've seen it here. Here. When the candle has smaller body than the shadows and have two long shadows from the two sides, it means that if it's at the bottom, the trend is going to go upwards. If it's on the top, the trend is going to go downwards. I always trade in this candle. We call it a doji. You can call it a doji. There's two sides from each other, like from each side. And if it's on the top, our trend is going to go down. And let me find it's more precise, like clearly. Here. It has two shadows longer than the body. And it gets like formed at the top of the trend. It means that it reverses the trend. If it's on the top, the trend is gonna go down, and if it's in the bottom, the trend is gonna go up. Here, and it's even lower than the two sides, and the trend has gone up. Okay. I want you to know the rules before we go to the practical part of the lesson. I want you to know all of them. There's like a cloud here. We call it a stalled pattern. And then it drops in price. And then here, I just want to find candles one by one, the important ones. If you trade in the candles that I tell you, be sure that you're gonna be successful in trading. And the last note, I know what it is. We repeat it again. It's the structure of candles. When it's empty, the bottom of it is an open of the candle, and it's the lowest point of it. And this is the closing of the candle, and it's the high of it. And it's just same for it. It's, we call it a bug doji. We call it this a gravestone doji. Like when the hanging man is on the top of each other and the next candle is like this, your trend is gonna drop intensely. It's like a kite, and it's gonna be a reversal. And that's the evening star that I told you. This is the inverted hammer. And it has gone down if it's not good from performed. But if it's in the top of the chart, it's a shooting star. Okay. I have explained you the theoretical thing, and I told you what signals it gives you and how it works. You have 9 types of good candles for trading. Bearish and bullish doesn't matter. I will teach you how to trade in a daily time frame, read the notes, and practice candlestick. The next session I will teach you the practical form of candlestick. And I don't want you to like confront any problem. If you can master candlestick, if you master this, you have like paved 60% of your journey. It's a really powerful analysis. I will repeat again this candlestick. Each candle that gets finished gives us a signal that the next candle is gonna finish as a in what direction. And scalping has its own hours. Like it's 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., 4 p.m. to 9 or 10 p.m. You can have good trades. The swings are not really that good in the morning. And it's not good for the trading. The best, yeah, the hours that I told you are the best. Okay, goodbye. Hope to see you next session.